course I have passion for my 49ers.
I am not going to back down on this one. Sometimes I go extra hard just to prove my point.
No, you don't get to have it both ways.
It's head-to-head. It's mano-a-mano. It's 49ers face-off. We have Alex against JHill in 49ers topics. Sometimes they turn into arguments, and sometimes they're just making good points. The good news for everyone today is Jason is completely transparent.
Very, very transparent indeed. Man, this is going to be a fun one. We had a good one this last time around. Jay, I'm looking forward to see what you bring to the table today.
Oh my, I'm eager and I'm ready. Let's roll.
And we definitely have a different definition of what good shirt means. But it is time.
This is a quality Hawaiian shirt. Thank you very much, Ant.
Okay, Big Kahuna. It is now time for
Miller.
the coin
Coin
toss.
Coin toss indeed.
So, Alex, you go ahead and you make the call, sir.
Give me that heads.
That's it. No.
It is tails.
Son of a gun. Tails
Yes,
never
sir.
fails.
Are you? What would you like to do, Jason? Would you like to defer, or you want to go ahead and answer first?
I'll defer again.
So he said he will always defer, Alex.
Sure, I
did.
So he's going to defer again.
All right, sounds good.
I got to be consistent.
So just remember,
Thank goodness for that.
make sure to make clear, concise points.
Clear, concise.
And if you use some sort of a sliding scale, expect a flag or warning
Okay.
from me. Also, if you talk while
fair.
someone else is talking in the drive, you will get an encroachment, and the other player will get
So
an
I've
extra
heard.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
You do that sometimes.
I do that.
So since Alex is up first, let's get into the first topic.
All right.
Josh Norman, yay or nay?
Yay. For one reason and one reason only, depth. Depth at the cornerback position. Some people may make the argument that he doesn't have whole heck of a lot left in the tank. Maybe he doesn't fit with this team or the scheme or whatnot. That is what it is. The 49ers don't really have a set scheme. They can do a lot of different things. They can play zone when they need to play zone in certain situations. They can go man and match up if they need to as well. Outside of, Emmanuel Mosley, Jason Verrett, outside of those two names, it's really a lot of youth. And we don't really know yet
What about K1?
K1's playing on the interior, on the slot, on the inside, the nickel slot. You're not going to move K1 outside. So outside of those two, yes, you do have a guy in DeAndre Lenore. I'm aware, but he's a stud who's going to operate specifically in the slot. He's not going to be covering a whole lot of guys on the outside perimeters in space. So adding a guy like Josh Norman who can fill in on that outside spot so you don't have to rely on the young rookies that you have, especially since we don't know what the corresponding move is going to be yet with this defense, it makes it very important.
So, I don't like this move at all. I know in the past I've always said that I always will give John and Kyle the benefit, but this doesn't make sense to me. He's a guy who played a lot of back in the day where they had two deep safeties. We play a lot of single high still. That doesn't fit all that well. Buffalo's past events last year was not very good, and he couldn't even play on that team.
He played.
He didn't start.
I know he didn't start. He's going to start opposite of Tre'Davious White?
No, but they have somebody over there, and he wasn't even good enough to start for them. So he adds depth that if we get to a point where we need him, we're in trouble.
You're a big guy with numbers. He was one of the 17th. PFF has him ranked in the top 17 in terms of pass coverage and breakups.
He only had one pick last year, though, too.
I'm aware, but
Okay.
What did our corners do last year in the interception category other than Jason Verrett?
I mean, once again, we had tons of guys hurt too, so that's.
Listen, I mean that is true. That is fair, and the dumpster fire that was Brian Allen did a really terrible job there of shoring up the defensive room. But I think this is what you're trying to insulate yourself from. You're trying to insulate yourself from that kind of situation again, because Josh Norman isn't that. He's significantly better than what Brian Allen was. And I would make an argument that he's better than Dante Johnson, who would be the third guy right now on this team, if he's not the corresponding move right to IR. He's definitely a guy who can come in and help also mentor alongside Jason Verrett with these young guys. I think it's a good short-term solution. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a long-term solid move. But in terms of protecting yourself short term from injury, especially with Verrett dealing with plantar fasciitis, Mosley dealing with a hamstring, and potentially Dante Johnson being the guy that we're moving to IR to make the roster move spot for, I think this is a good short term solution.
If he's on our roster past week 6 or 7, that is not good.
Why?
That would tell you that those guys haven't gotten healthy enough to do what they're capable of, and our young guys haven't improved. So at that point, we might have to consider bringing back Sherman, or hopefully Mr. Trufant has gotten through his family issue, because I think he'd be a much better fit than Josh Norman.
I don't disagree with you there, but hold on. You're going to tell me that, I mean, if they were going to make the move for Richard Sherman, wouldn't have this been that time right now where they do that?
I think they're kind of waiting for this unfortunate situation that happened up in Seattle to kind of play itself out before anyone even takes a look at him.
Is it going? If it's not done playing out now, when is it going to be done playing out? Because
that's up to the Seattle law enforcement then.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think that's why you make this move, is because that isn't going away. It's not going away this season. It's going to carry as long as it needs to carry, especially with everything happening with law enforcement and shutdowns and things of that nature in a lot of different states. Things are getting delayed. So that legal process is going to play itself out however long it takes to play itself out. So you go and make this move now for Josh Norman. This just right now makes sense. I don't disagree with you on Trufant. I think that would be a much better route for this team to go. But as of now, this is a solid move. Shores you up right now and protects you against Ambry Thomas's lack of development. If Ambry Thomas continues to not develop, this makes sense. Deontay Lenoir is going to develop and probably push for this guy. We've already seen the things that we need to see.
I like him.
I agree with you. Ambry hasn't developed, but I think this move specifically.
That's what happens when you take a Michigan guy.
I mean, he should be panning out. I know you're not a big fan of the Harbaugh of Mr. Harbaugh over there, but look, I think this move.
Great coach right there. Let me tell you.
I think this move protects you against Ambry Thomas. That's what it's specifically here for, and that's why I'm for it. It gives you that extra layer of protection, so you don't end up with a Miami game like last year.
And I'm curious, guys. I'm going to put this out there for you. The money that you see from Norman, it's reported that it's going to be the veteran minimum of 1.075, and then he has some sort of performance escalators that can take it up to $2.5 million, which we know will ultimately, cost against the cap, in another year. But I would like to know if you guys think that is a big, reason why it was Norman, not Trufant, not Richard Sherman, or if you think and also, do you think that is a fair amount of money for somebody of Norman's caliber, even this late in his career?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because Richard Sherman, I understand that Richard Sherman probably could get more money, but with everything going on, Richard Sherman can't right now, right? He'd have to probably take a vet minimum somewhere else. That's what would have to happen. However, with this situation here, you don't have a lot of cap space, right? We got $2.88 million tied up in the practice squad already as it is. You only have, I think it was very, very little, under $6 million that's left in terms of what you actually have to play with your cap. So there's just not a lot of movement there, mobility. So you do what you have to do. You bring in a veteran presence who can shore that up on the cheap, and you give them a little bit of $1.5 million in incentives. That's $1.5 million down the road sometime. It is what it is. It does it now, right? This is a good situation now for the Niners because you make this move and you don't have to try and restructure someone else's contract and extend someone into the future and push that money away if you don't have to.
And Jason, before you argue, let's make it clear about the money. It was just under $6 million, and that's before the $2.88 million from the practice squad comes out. Mm-hmm. So the Niners are definitely against the cap. So go ahead.
And because of that, I'm not that even adds to it, because I'd rather us have 5, 6, 7 or a million to play with in case an injury happens, or like we did a couple years ago, we saw that our receiving core was not good enough, went out and got Emmanuel Sanders, and that almost helped us to a Super Bowl. So I'd rather have that space and that flexibility to address a need that comes up in middle late October than diving into something right now and being a little overpaid and for probably the wrong guy.
Is he overpaid though? I mean, it's the vet minimum. He's making the bare minimum with
the
escalators.
Incentives though.
But if he doesn't hit a single incentive, then what? You're paying the guy the base minimum salary.
He shouldn't be on the team then if he can't reach the incentives.
Well, I mean, incentives are built for you to try and reach to, which means sometimes you're going to hit them and sometimes you're not.
Well, and that's the key point, right? Is this a depth move, or is this and for insulation in case the young guys aren't prepared and able to play, or is this going to be more pressing where they had to make the move? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this something that had to be done right now?
I think it's depth right now. I think it's just depth.
Okay, so you guys agree on that.
The fact that they didn't wait for Trufant to see what his scenario is, because I don't know, some of our followers might not know, but the Lions still owe him like $3.6 million. So San Francisco wouldn't have to pay him a ton to help him slide here. And the fact that they weren't able to sit back and say, hey, we really want you to come. You get your stuff figured out, and we'll talk in a couple weeks. The fact that they dove in now leads me to believe that inside the building they aren't very happy with something there.
Yeah, or they're just not. They like some of the things that they have, and they think that they just need to, protect themselves in case injuries start piling up. I think that's more along the lines of what it is. I don't think there's really anyone they're unhappy with. I just think they got some injuries piling up, and they're concerned. That's where I think
it's awfully early to be happy with.
And there's some big moves by John Lynch and them going ahead and getting some of the injury settlements with Michael Kendricks and Tony Jefferson to free up some of this cap space as well. Something that could happen with Richie James down the road. But let's go ahead and get to the next topic. I think you guys did a very good job of talking about that point. You guys both made great points. I think people are going to love it. And now we're going to talk about something that's going to pertain to this week's game. We have a defense that needs to stop Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions and get on the right track. The defense has looked vastly different from 2019 to 2020 because of personnel and how they are attacking it. Now they have a different defensive coordinator. But what will be the defensive focus? Jason, you're going to go on this first. Which, part of the team, which player, which group, whatever it is, which scheme has to be the most successful to stop the Detroit Lions?
So there's one thing that we all know and we all agree on is our defense is pretty much built on the front four. That's a given. It starts and ends with the front four. John Lynch has said that since day one. That goes back to his days in Tampa. You have a strong front four. You can control the entire game. So the obvious answer here is the front four. Oh, Bosa's back. D Ford. Okay. No. The actual answer, I hate to tell you folks, is the linebacking core. Because we know what we're going to get out of the front four. We know that. But outside of Fred, sometimes our linebacking core can maybe make a mistake or two, be a little out of position. And so if our front seven can be dominant, keep Swift under control, that's going to force Jared Goff to drop back and beat us. And as we all know, with his days with the Rams, he can't do it by himself. He needs a strong running game. If we stop Swift, we'll have at least 2, if not 3 interceptions, and we'll just beat the brakes off the Lions. The answer, folks, is the linebacking core, because we need to get up there, get in the box, stuff DeAndre, and turn Fred loose and let him be all over the field and be the best middle linebacker that he is.
I think he just went B Rabbit and Papa Doc, or he tells everyone what your argument's going to be.
That's true. That's true. But here's the problem, right?
Everybody from the 313.
Put your mother hands up and follow me.
Hey, it works out perfect, right? Because of who we're playing.
It actually is.
Hey, Alex, take him to 8 Mile Road. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Listen up. All right, no, for real though. But Jason, I thought you were going to just go full Captain Obvious, which is what you should have done. You should have went the Captain Obvious route, because it's obvious what the answer to this freaking question is. It is the D line. No, you actually took a situation, Jason, in which you could have come with the most simplest, plainest answer, and you completely overthought it, which is my job. My job is to overthink, not yours.
And go on tangents, right?
How can it be the linebacking core? How can it be the linebacking core? If the front four isn't able to get the push, if they're not able to slow down run lanes, get into the backfield and create havoc, make DeAndre Swift second guess what he's seeing, what he's looking at, and how he's supposed to get there. If they don't do that, then it doesn't matter what Fred Warner is doing. That line group for the Lions is going to be able to get to second level, do what they want to do, disrupt flow for the linebackers, and be able to run the way they want to run and where they want to run. The whole reason we kept 11 defensive linemen was to dominate up front in all aspects of the game. Pass rush, power, interior, stopping the inside run, setting the edge on the outside zones.
All things we know that they'll do. But what we don't know is will the linebacking core do their job? If
they do those things, right, and you're going to automatically force Jared Goff to have to throw the football, you no longer need Fred Warner to operate as a guy focusing on DeAndre Swift. Fred Warner can drop in coverage. Fred Warner can blitz and rush the passer. Fred Warner gets the freedom to do what he wants to do, which means the best version of Fred Warner.
Which is what I said.
Yes, but the best version of Fred Warner
everywhere.
The best version of Fred Warner can't be everywhere if the D-line doesn't do what they're supposed to do. All of it is predicated on the D-line doing their job. If the D-line does it, then they are the obvious choice.
No.
Right? They're the obvious choice.
Sometimes the obvious choice is the wrong choice.
They have to win their matchup. No, the obvious choice is almost
we know
always
what they
the
will
right
do.
choice.
We don't know what we're going to get out of the linebacking core. That's the problem.
Look, what I don't also appreciate is the Dre Greenlaw slander that this man just popped all over this podcast.
Sometimes he doesn't do the best job of being in the right hole. Sometimes he gets a little sloppy on the outside. Just saying. I like him as a great fifth round draft pick, but every once in a while he has a brain cramp.
And you know, sometimes also, Jason, I put my pants on two legs at a time, not one leg at a time, both legs at a time. That's really bold. You know, but that doesn't mean it's the wrong way to put my pants on. It's the right way to put. I still put my pants on just like everybody else.
I do that every day. So
it's true. Look, I don't appreciate.
But I am above
the linebacker slander.
Pants are so overrated.
That too.
Also true. I don't appreciate the linebacker slander because look, Jason, at the end of the
it's slander. It's
slander because
it's keeping it 100.
You're not keeping it 100. If you would actually address
of the two groups, which is the better of the two groups?
Obviously the D-line.
Okay, so obviously we know what we're going to get from them. So the question mark and who needs to step up is the linebacking core. If they step up, then
they don't need to step up.
The front seven becomes elite. Then
this front seven is already elite, my guy. It's already elite.
It should be.
It is. It already is elite.
If the linebackers don't play what they're capable of playing, then it's not.
Their job becomes 10 times easier if the D-line does what it's supposed to do. It executes, dominates, controls the line of scrimmage. Controls the line of scrimmage. You're writing off something that has to be done. I mean, you're taking something for granted. You're one of those guys, right? You're one of those guys, right? On paper, it's better. So you just sim it. It's all good.
I'm expecting on paper, great players to do their job.
Team.
My bad.
You're going to do the thing you're supposed to do. I mean, it is what it is. They have to go out and execute still top to bottom. They have to execute. D-line has to set the tone. If your D-line doesn't do it, everyone else is in a bad position. I
expect Shohei Ohtani to hit a home run. I expect the people who are great at their job and who are the 1% of the 1%ers in the league, like D Ford and Bosa, to do their job.
Yep.
So the people who aren't the 1%ers
we don't know how much
ride off that.
We don't know how much D Ford and Nick Bosa are going to play. So if those two aren't on the field as much as you think they are,
30 snaps apiece, that's still good enough.
Between the both of them?
My bad.
Individually.
No, individually. No, but my bad. I forgot. They got your boy Eric Armstead still out there.
I don't understand what's wrong with Eric Armstead. You may have a situation where Arden Key's out there playing more snaps in week one than you think.
And we have there, folks.
I know this wasn't a plan, but Jason, I want to get into what you said because you talked about the snaps for Nick Bosa and D Ford.
Yes,
and 30 snaps apiece.
No way.
Do you think that's realistic for D Ford? I'm not going to put it on Nick Bosa. I have no idea, but I wonder if you think that is realistic for D Ford to play 30 snaps against Detroit in week one.
I think we see Ford on most every third down.
Okay.
And anytime there's a second and long too.
Okay. You think it'll be Ford over like an Ebucom in that situation?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree completely.
Okay.
30 snaps for D Ford is a lot in week one, coming off of everything he's been dealing with his neck, with the back, everything else.
The thing that could change is if San Francisco is up 28-3 at the half, then which
very well could happen.
Right.
Listen, here's my thing.
Fair point.
I don't think so. He's in a sliding scale, and I see how this works.
No, it's a fair point. At 28-3, if the 49ers are winning like that, you're not going to have somebody like D Ford out there with a risk to get hurt. I get what he's saying.
But here's my thing. My thing is that even if that's not the case, even if the game is a little bit tighter, D Ford's going to be playing on 3rd and longs this week, and that's probably about it. There's no reason to throw him in on 2nd and longs because you can have and roll out guys like Samson Ebukam out there in space to operate and set up those even 3rd and longer situations. And even in that case, I think there's even a threshold for those 3rd and longs right now. It's early in the season. You don't want to overdo D Ford. Is D Ford more important now, week 1 against the Lions? Or is D Ford more important week 18 when comes time to face the Rams?
So would there be a snap count? Like, what is a number, Jason, that you feel comfortable D Ford won't go over?
Like I said, he doesn't play more than 30.
So you think it's 30's the cap?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'll go with half that. I'd say 15.
And probably 20 is what he actually plays, depending on the score.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair. I'll just say 15 flat out. 15's the number.
And Bosa probably plays up to 40, probably, because he looks like he's ready to go, and he's itching to be out there. So I think that Kyle might have a hard time actually kind of bringing him in too.
I'll say 20.
So do you think Bosa's playing, like, you think he's going to actually start at defensive end and play a base downs?
I think he will actually start.
Okay. I can see it. It won't shock me. It won't shock me for Bosa. It would 100% shock me for Ford, and Ford's out there every single 3rd down. That would absolutely blow my mind.
We're fine. Blow my mind, man.
Blowing my mind, man. Absolutely. Jason, that was
a
bold take, my guy. That was bold. I realized this was that's bold. But
really bold. Whoa. Very solid arguments, though. But you know what, guys? You know what time it is?
What time is it?
It is time for the drive. Time for the drive.
True.
The drive.
Time for the drive. This is a glorious time.
It is. And you know what?
Who's going first?
So you know what's going to happen? We had the coin toss, and Jason won. So Jason's going to be able to choose. But just so everyone knows what the rules of the drive are, there's going to be a question. Each one of these guys is going to get 1 minute.
Uno minuto.
Yeah, 1 minute to make their argument, and then everyone in chat and everyone in the comment section will decide who the winner is.
It's true.
And that'll be a lot of fun. And the question is going to be before I'm sure Jason, wait, I'll let you decide first. Are you gonna go first, or you want Alex to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, he's going to go first. And the question is going to be, who is the most under-the-radar player that makes the biggest impact in this first game, week 1, 49ers at Detroit Lions? Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to go with, I mentioned him in our first debate. It's K'Wan Williams.
Okay.
He will have at least 1 interception. He'll have 5 or 6 tackles. And he might even get himself a fumble recovery. He's always run the ball, and because of our monster D-line, the ball's going to have to come out quick, so he's going to be up in there to make plays. And for some reason, people only talk about Verrett and Mosley, but I actually think that of all of our corners, he's our best overall defensive player of all those guys. And I don't think that he gets enough love. He is really, really good, and I think he's going to have potentially a Pro Bowl caliber year. It starts with him going out versus Jared Goff.
I like the little snicker at the end as your time's expiring. I 100% approve of that.
I definitely approve of that as well. Look, it's very funny that Jason goes with what he went with. Right, he chooses K'Wan Williams, and it's a great pick. I can't knock him for the pick. However, you would think that the guy he'd want to go with would be the position that he harped so much about, right, with those linebackers. And for me, it's going to be Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw is the most underrated guy because of the slander that JHill has already thrown out there about this man. This is one of our best coverage linebackers on this team. Yes, he's not better than Fred Warner. Fred Warner is elite at every level, but Dre Greenlaw is an extremely underrated pass cover, and especially since Jared Goff is known for the check down, right? He's known for going to those guys underneath. Dre Greenlaw on DeAndre Swift is going to be a big matchup. Dre Greenlaw on TJ Hawkinson at times is going to be a big matchup for this team. Look for Dre Greenlaw to have a couple pass breakups. Dre Greenlaw to shut down the running backs and the tight ends in space for this Detroit Lions team and to solidify himself as a potentially Pro Bowl player for the 49ers.
Thanks. That's bold.
Okay, so number 1, fantastic drive. Both of you made very good points. K'Wan Williams and Dre Greenlaw, excellent. And also was a very, very, very good 49ers face-off. I had to throw no penalties, guys. First time we have made it through an episode with no penalties. Both guys were on point. Jason was tremendously transparent in all arguments and in shirt.
So bad.
True.
But I thought that there was a nice back and forth. So everyone, go ahead and let us know in the chat below, in the comment section, who won the argument today. Was it Alex or was it JHill? Because, I mean, this was a very good one, and you might agree with each one of them, and even each one of them on different points. But overall, it was an exciting 49ers face-off. I can't wait for the next one, because it just seems like every single time the conversation just gets a little bit better.
Just a little bit better. Jason, I'm liking what you're bringing to the table, and I especially love the transparency today. It was great.
I'm never gonna wear this shirt ever again.
Yeah, Tony Bahama loves it.
Tony Mama does love it. I know that I love it. But no, this was a fun episode.
Yeah.
We had a good time. Jay, you brought some good stuff to the table, but man, some of this slander, I don't know how I feel about this, man.
I you know what? I will sleep just fine with however you feel about the slander I brought.
Yeah.
Because it's the facts, and if you can't handle the facts, then why are you part of the Cutback lifestyle then?
Ooh, I like it.
We're all about facts here.
Take my eyes, but not the shirt.
Not the shirt. Oh, that's absolutely incredible. Cutback crew, make sure you get your votes in before the poll closes, before the video ends. We still got tons of great content coming your way this week. It is week 1. It is time to get excited. We got a preview show on Thursday. We got stuff coming out on Patreon all week long. You can see me and Jason have an interview this week as well over on Patreon, because we may be facing off on 49ers Face Off, but we're also facing off in week 1 of the Fantasy Football League. So make sure you go over there. That's going to be a fun discussion when that goes live as well.
Yeah, Will. There's lots of great ways to get involved, and this is a fun week to get involved. Get involved in 49ers football. Get involved with the 49ers Cutback. It's going to be exciting. Watch everything you can. Don't forget to watch Thursday's preview show. It's going to be absolutely exciting. We're going to get into all the key matchups that you won't want to miss. Maybe a little bit of it got, talked about today, but we're going to take it to a whole other level, because we're going to literally break it down and really get into it. It's going to be an exciting week as we build towards Detroit Lions. Week 1 at 10 a.m. Pacific start time.
Dan Campbell, watch out. Here we come.
Dan Campbell, put on another helmet and never wear a shirt like that.
Never, ever, ever wear a shirt like that. But make sure, lots of protection too on the helmet. We just got
to make sure that he doesn't try and bite off anyone's kneecaps too. So
well, there's a lot of crazy things going down there in Detroit, and there's a lot of fun things happening here on the 49ers Cutback.
8 Mile.
Yeah.
8 Mile indeed. Cutback crew, we'll see you on the next one, and until that time, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.